Hello, my name is Carlos Ferreira, and for my further oral assessment, I will evaluate the use of language to build stereotypes in the song What If I Was White by Eminem featuring Sticky Fingaz. The title of the song makes it clear that the artists are going to make stereotypes regarding the life of a white person and their privileges in comparison to the life of an African American. The fact that the song combines both a white rapper and an African American rapper brings more value since it'll expose the different point of views regarding the stereotypes present in the song. The title of the song "What If I Was White" is very ironic because the producer Eminem is white. This can be explained because back when Eminem started his career, he had to create this sense of identity in order to fit into the rap world. Rap was very present in African American culture, but not very present in the rest of the cultures, meaning that Eminem had to build this new identity, separating him from the white people in order to fit into the African American culture. This wasn't very hard for Eminem because due to his rough upbringings in both Missouri and Michigan, he spent a lot of time in African American neighborhoods, which made him experience different things and all the different point of views. And then he decided to write this song in 2008. Eminem starts the white privilege stereotype by saying that if he was white, police wouldn't be always watching him and that they wouldn't pull him over for nothing. This concept of police discrimination towards African Americans is a very big issue lately in America because more and more police brutality, cases of police brutality towards African Americans have been happening. This is 8 years later than the song was produced by Eminem. So if this was a problem back then, it's still a problem now. This stereotype is also built on the basis that white people do not endure the same neglect and discrimination as African Americans do by police members by stopping them constantly, whereas white people are insinuating, the rappers are insinuating that white people do not endure the same treatment. Right after, the idea of discrimination is still present when Eminem sings, "If I was white, wouldn't matter if I was rich or poor, security wouldn't follow me around the store. Because I'm black, I rob and automatically assume I ain't got no job." This reinforces the fact that African Americans are discriminated constantly by security members due to their associations to robbing, this terrible stereotype. This applies to the stereotype of white privilege because they're insinuating that white people do not endure the same type of vigilance that African Americans do when entering a shop. When Eminem specifically says, "Because I'm black, I rob," this is completely linked to the stereotype of black people robbing, which is related to discrimination back in the other previous lines of the song. African Americans are accused of robbing constantly, whereas white people do not experience the same association. This has completely been proven false in the United States of America. When looking at the statistics, the fact that Eminem associates black people with no jobs insinuates that white people are associated with having jobs, which once again links the lines to the white privilege stereotype that white people always have jobs and black people are not as lucky and they do not have jobs. Right after, there's a brief allusion to the O.J. Simpson case. This allusion reveals the fact that in America, all white people were standing against O.J., saying that he was guilty, and all African Americans were standing behind O.J. This allusion relates to the discrimination by saying that white people do not think O.J. was innocent simply because he's African American. The rappers are insinuating that white people were using the fact that were attributing guilt to O.J. Simpson simply because he was African American. The following verses of the song start demonstrating the negative stereotypes of being white. This does not really relate to the stereotype of white privilege present in the last verse, but it starts developing the negative stereotypes of being white. Eminem starts off the verse by saying that white people do not know how to dance, by saying they couldn't dance to a beat. Um, the language present is drawing a comparison between the dancing skills of white people and African Americans, and therefore the language points out that white people are not as talented by saying that they cannot dance to a beat as successfully as African American people can, because they're associated with inhumane dancing skills. And white people are, when comparing these dancing skills to white people, they're associated with not being able how to dance. Right after Eminem states, "Is it a myth or do I really have a little dick?" And this statement adds on to the negative stereotypes of white people by questioning Sticky Fingaz whether white people have a small penis. This once again reflects the negative side of being white by reinforcing this stereotype regarding the male reproductive organ. Lately, both Eminem and Sticky Fingaz state that white people wear suit and ties and go to work every day. This is a hasty generalization because it generalizes all the white society by claiming that we all have jobs. This can relate back to the previous paragraph of white privilege, since this claim insinuates that all white people have jobs, whereas African Americans do not wear suit and ties, which means that they do not have jobs. Immediately after, Eminem once again links the white privilege stereotype to the verse. He says that if I was white, I'd live in Long Island instead of New York. This means that white people are wealthier than African Americans, since Long Island is associated with very large mansions, whereas New York is associated with gangs and not very nice neighborhoods to live in. Then the African American rapper Sticky Fingaz says, "If I was white, I probably couldn't dunk because everybody knows the white man can't jump. This stereotype links once again to the negative stereotypes regarding white people by claiming that they cannot jump. The language used here is connecting the white people capacity to jumping to the African American capacity to jump. This implies that white people wouldn't be able to play basketball since white people are short and can't jump, whereas African Americans can jump. This association is being made. Language in this verse is associating African Americans to fantastic basketball players. For example, in the NBA, that are able to dunk, whereas white people are not able to do the same skill. Sorry. Eminem finishes the verse by singing, "And probably wouldn't be able to go to the weed spot because all of the dreads would think I'm a cop," which could have two different connotations. One of the meanings could be that there are no African Americans as police officers, which can be an example of the white privilege by demonstrating that only white people work for the police force, and that African Americans do not work for the police force, which brings up the whole topic of police brutality mentioned above. The other meaning is that this phrase could be is that only African Americans do drugs, that white people do not do drugs because as they go to a weed spot, they're automatically associated to figures of authority, and normally they do not do weed. This can be interpreted by the fact that the hypothetical white person would go to the weed spot to find African Americans, which reinforces the stereotype that white people do not do drugs, or that the general white population does not do drugs. Concluding this analysis, it is clear that language plays a major role in the formation of stereotypes. This can be seen through this rap song, which conveys several stereotypes such as the white privilege and the negative racial stereotypes for both African Americans and whites. One of the learning outcomes achieved by analyzing this rap song was the third learning outcome, demonstrating an awareness of how language and meaning are shaped by culture and context. This text comes from both white and an African American rapper, which helps understand how they feel about the topic, the different stereotypes about the different races, bringing both point of views present in the song. Lastly, the regarding this point of the demonstrating an awareness for how language and meaning are shaped by culture and context. By researching about Eminem's upbringings, it is clear that he was heavily influenced by African American people, making him being having these visions of these stereotypes that normal white people wouldn't have about themselves, due to the fact that he had to build an identity in order to fit into the rap world. Um, Eminem could possibly mean what he's saying, but he doubtfully would, because he's also a white person, and therefore he would be offending himself. He's saying this behind his identity of Eminem, fitting into the whole rap society of African Americans. And yes, thank you for listening.